Before we step through the looking glass into the extraordinary and often heartbreaking life of the man who fell to earth, please take a moment to support our channel. If you enjoy deep dives into music history and the true stories behind the icons, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Also, leave a comment below telling us which David Bowie persona resonated with you the most. Was it Ziggy, the Thin White Duke, or the Blind Prophet of Blackstar? We really want to know. To the outside world, David Bowie appeared to be a being of pure stardust, an extraterrestrial chameleon who descended upon the music scene to challenge every norm of gender, genre, and performance. He shifted shapes, not just with every album, but sometimes with the wind. An enigmatic figure who seemed impervious to the mundane struggles of regular human existence. Yet, beneath the glitter, the grease, and the meticulously constructed alien facades, lay a deeply sensitive man haunted by profound mortal fears and a traumatic family legacy. The real story of David Robert Jones is far more complex and tragically human than the myths surrounding Ziggy Stardust. Bowie's life was shadowed from the very beginning by the specter of mental illness. Growing up in post-war Brixton, he was acutely aware of a darkness that seemed to run in his mother Peggy's bloodline. Biographers have noted that schizophrenia seemed seared into the family's genetic code. His maternal grandmother was known for her cruelty, and two of his aunts suffered severely from schizophrenic episodes, their conditions allegedly exacerbated by the terror of the London Blitz during World War II. Young David grew up watching these relatives disappear into their own minds, fostering a deep-seated, lifelong terror that he too was destined to inherit the family curse and lose his grip on reality. Some suggest that his compulsive need to adopt extreme alter egos was more than just performance art. It was a psychological survival tactic, a way to fracture his identity preemptively before madness could do it for him. This fear was personified in the tragic figure of his half-brother, Terry. Terry was David's hero and his introduction to the wider world of art, jazz, and literature. There was a genuine, deep affection between them, with Terry acting as a mentor to his much younger sibling. But Terry bore the brunt of the family's genetic burden. After returning from service in the Royal Air Force, his mental state began to deteriorate rapidly. David witnessed this firsthand during a night out to see the band Cream. The overwhelming volume triggered a psychotic episode in Terry, who began having terrifying visions of fire bursting from the pavement. As David ascended to global stardom, Terry's life dissolved into a series of stays in mental institutions. Terry eventually died by suicide in 1986, a devastating blow that left a permanent scar on Bowie's psyche, echoing through songs where he explored themes of madness and lost brethren. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of self-harm, please know that help is available. You can contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline or text HOME to 741,741 to connect with a crisis counselor. Reaching out is a sign of strength. Even Bowie's most defining physical characteristic is mismatched. Otherworldly Eyes was born of adolescent trauma rather than cosmic design. In his teenage years, his best friend and musical collaborator was George Underwood. In a classic tale of youthful rivalry, they both fell for the same girl. When Bowie playfully sabotaged Underwood's chances with her, Underwood, in a fit of blind rage, punched Bowie squarely in the eye. The blow was severe, damaging the sphincter muscle of the left iris. While doctors saved his sight, his pupil remained permanently dilated, creating the illusion of having two different colored eyes. It gave him a mystical, uncanny gaze that perfectly suited his future alien personas, a permanent brand resulting from a moment of impulsive violence. As he navigated the 1970s, Bowie became a beacon for marginalized communities, particularly through his play with androgyny and sexuality. He famously declared himself gay in 1972, then bisexual years later, before eventually settling on closeted heterosexual. It is easy to forget today just how brave these statements were at the time. Homosexuality had only just been partially decriminalized in Britain, and the cultural climate was still deeply hostile. Bowie didn't just open doors, he kicked them down in platform heels, even if his own labels remained fluid. However, the mid-1970s saw Bowie descend into his own personal hell, fueled by astronomical quantities of cocaine. The drug became the engine of his existence, allowing him to stay awake for days on end to work. but it ravaged his mind and body. During his time living in Los Angeles, a period he later referred to as his darkest, he wasted away to a skeletal frame, existing on a diet of peppers, milk, and hard drugs. The cocaine psychosis he experienced mirrored the very schizophrenia he had spent his life fearing. He began hallucinating demons in his swimming pool and developed bizarre, paranoid obsessions. This toxic state birthed the thin white duke persona, an icy, emotionless aristocrat. In the depths of this drug-addled paranoia, Bowie made disturbing comments in interviews, appearing to flirt with fascist ideology and praising Hitler as a rock star, statements he would later deeply regret and retract as the ramblings of a man who was mentally unhinged by addiction. He eventually realized that to survive, he had to escape LA, fleeing to Berlin to clean up and restart his life. If you're facing challenges with addiction, resources like the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration National Helpline can provide support and treatment referrals. Bowie seemed to regain his equilibrium in the subsequent decades, becoming a sober, elder statesman of rock and a devoted family man. But in 2004, mortality caught up with him violently during a concert in Germany. What he initially thought was a pinched nerve in his shoulder turned out to be a massive heart attack backstage after performing Ziggy Stardust. Undergoing emergency surgery, this brush with death fundamentally changed him. He almost completely withdrew from the public eye, ceasing to tours and becoming a virtual ghost in New York City for nearly a decade. His final act was perhaps his most poignant. Diagnosed with terminal liver cancer, Bowie decided to keep his condition a profound secret from the world. Only his family and closest collaborators knew the truth. He entered the studio to record his final album, Black Star, while undergoing grueling chemotherapy, often arriving for sessions with no hair or eyebrows. Exhausted but determined, he meticulously crafted the album as a final farewell note to his fans, grappling with themes of mortality, heaven, and legacy. He died just 2 days after its release and his 69th birthday. The world was stunned, unaware they had been watching a man say goodbye in real time. As his producer, Tony Visconti, noted, Bowie's death was like his life, a carefully orchestrated work of art. He had taken the deepest tragedies of his reality, the fear of madness, the pain of loss, and his own impending death, and transmuted them into golden, enduring sound. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of a true legend. If this story moved you, please remember to hit that like button and share this video with fellow music lovers. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can keep bringing you the hidden histories behind the greatest artist the world has ever known. Until next time.